Hey, everybody, I'm super excited to have you join in on this conversation of Made for More, where we are exploring the you beyond the box. Sometimes God has to redirect our footsteps from taking us out of what is good into what is great, literally taking us out of the very thing that we were comfortable in and we may have even been thriving in to take us into something we had not known before. That is exactly what happened with one of my good friends, Jessica Smith, who is also a podcaster as well. And this conversation, I really want you to listen in on because she talks about her journey of coming from a very good paying job to coming into the purpose and the call that she's in right now. I want you all to stick around as we explore her coming into her more. So, first and foremost, I am super excited to have this very special guest come and grace this podcast platform. You all know her as Jess the podcast or Jessica Smith. And there are so many different things that we are going to dive into on this specific conversation. So, welcome to Made for More, Jess. I appreciate you coming and gracing this podcast. Of course, we just talked briefly about, just the dynamic of Made for More and just the purpose of why God gave it to me. And I really felt like you would be a great feature because of your story. I won't go into full detail and just all of the amazing things that God has been doing now. I'll let you go into that. But um, number one, tell us about yourself before I just start asking questions.
This is what the podcast for. You supposed to ask
Uh, just
this.
start just jumping right in.
First of all, I gotta say thank you. You listen to be on anything, Liz. That means that you're doing something excellent.
Oh,
The E in Elizabeth stands for excellence. Okay, I don't
come
know if
on,
you feel
excellent.
that. Excellent, Elizabeth. Lovely, Liz.
You're so silly.
Well, as she was saying, my name is Jessica S. Smith. I am the host of Just Ask the podcast, where we create a safe space for influencers, decompress, have fun, and just ask. And I've been podcasting since October 20th, 2022. And I remember that date because that's my mother's birthday.
Oh,
I didn't know that I was going to be doing something like this, and that it's interesting because I'm just your home girl from the west side of Birmingham, Alabama, and I grew up, was raised there. I went to the University of Alabama, studied communicate. Major was communication studies with a minor in family studies, and I didn't really know where my life was going after that. So I was trying new things after I got out of college. I went into the workforce. They really weren't paying that much, right? I ain't gonna call the corporation out, but they tried it.
they tried you.
They tried it, okay? But I was in retail for a while, and then I ended up at Enterprise. I will say that loudly because I love that company. And with Enterprise, I grew, and then this time last year, I was starting a new venture because the Lord had told me to put my 2 weeks in, and I was like, okay, God, okay, that's what you want to do.
Oh, yeah.
So I say all of that to say every move I've made has been a faith move.
Mhm.
And if I look back over my life, my walk has been okay. I'm gonna obey God, even when I didn't really know that it was Holy Spirit leading me to the decision that I was making.
Mhm.
And so that's a little bit about me. It's
That-
weird. It's weird being on the other end.
Listen, because when you were first starting out, and I thought about this, as I was getting ready, I was thinking about how you had asked me to start out on your podcast, and it has been amazing to see the transformation and all that God has done from the very beginning stages all the way up until this point, and just being able to see you just take faith move after faith move. And I think you had mentioned something about how you did not see this coming. You had no idea, even with your prophetic intel, because let's talk about it. A lot of times, like as prophets, sometimes we can't even see what God is going to do next in our own. We can see for everybody else, but when it comes to us, sometimes he might, throw something in our life and we have no idea. But it's the beautiful thing. It's beautiful because it gives us the ability to literally walk by faith. And I
Right.
think you had mentioned that as well. Starting out with the podcast and then also making that step of leaving your job. Talk to us a little bit about what that was like, because there are a lot of people right now, including myself, that are wrestling, we tussling with the Lord, and we know he gonna win, but we just trying to, you know what I'm saying, just like prolong the time a little bit. But also in the same sense, talk to us about what that process was like. And then also, before you quit your job, did you have anything like prepare? Did you prepare, or was there any preparation or anything like that?
That's a good question. So let me start with the first part of that. How did it feel? Or what was the process like?
Mhm.
Process was like, so this time last year, so we're in 2025. So in 2024, January of 2024 to be exact, I was awarded, I was inboxed personally by the wonderful, the beautiful Tabitha Brown, and she was doing her book tour.
Mhm.
Now, one of her stops was Birmingham, and I was already going. I had already
Mm.
picked, baby, okay? I secured four actually, okay? Then I bought the tea, but
Right.
uh, I I secured my spot in the seats, what I thought, right? I thought I was gonna be in the audience, and um
Jesus.
yeah, from the
Ooh,
seat to the stage. Like
come
you
on.
knew that you were supposed to be there, but you didn't know your actual position. Let's talk about
Now,
that.
let's unpack that.
Yeah, so December, what's interesting is in December, before all of this, before she inboxed me, I had she had made the announcement that she was going on tour. And then
Mhm.
she was doing all these things like, oh, Jackson sold out. Oh, the X, Y, and Z sold out. And I made this video. This is why content creation is so important.
Mm.
Everything is content, right? We
Yes.
try to make content so difficult because we want our lives to look perfectly. We want everything to be
Mm.
aligned, but we just don't want to be our real selves. But your
Yeah.
fake self don't deliver nobody.
Jesus.
You have no deliverance power in being anything outside of yourself. That's what I have
Mhm.
learned with
Mhm.
contemplation. So fast forward, when I found out, I made this video and I was like, we want to sell out. Then um, I have this dream, and I'm not gonna go too far into it, but basically the dream was me being in this space with her, and I
Mhm.
don't know where we were, but I remember us taking a deep breath and walking on stage together. So
Wow.
this dream, I'm like, okay, she's supposed to be on the podcast. It gave me boldness to ask on the podcast. Well, I
Mhm.
sent this email, right? I send the email January 2nd. I want to pay
Mm.
attention to the dates. January 2nd, 2024, I sent the email requesting her to be on Just Ask the Podcast. All right. That email I think goes to her agency or something like that. So, Just Ask is not don't doesn't even have 500 subscribers on YouTube.
Wow.
I want y'all to listen to this.
Jesus.
Just Ask the Podcast does not even have 500 subscribers on YouTube, and I don't even think we had four, if I'm correct.
Wow.
I'm just letting you know.
Wow.
So fast forward. So January 2nd, I send the email.
Mhm.
January 16th at 1:20 p.m., I get an inbox from Tabitha Brown because she had put a petition out saying, hey, let me tag your favorite Birmingham content creator. You know how many content creators in Birmingham, Alabama? And
What?
those that have like thousands, almost about millions of followers on TikTok,
Mm.
Instagram, all the social media world. And at that time, I might have had 1,200, between 1,200 and 1,600. One of them, it was in the thousands, right?
Mhm.
Not
Mhm.
even 2,000. not even 2,000 followers yet on Instagram. And that's where she decided to hit me up on Instagram
Mm.
saying,
Mm.
hey, I looked at your page. This gives me chill every time. I looked at your page I haven't found my people have been sending me people to review to moderate for my Birmingham stop, and no one has settled in my spirit. But then I saw you,
Wow.
right, and I said that's her, right,
Jesus.
and so and so that experience led to me being in that while I'm getting prepared for that experience, I'm also dealing with people saying, "Hey, Jess, you're not gonna be here for long," especially my manager, right? See, this is the key thing I need people to know. If you're gonna be a believer 24/7. Don't be a picky
Mm.
choose believer, right?
Mhm.
And one thing
Mhm.
at my job, at Enterprise, they understood that I live by these rules: God first, family, friends second, and career third. I am not putting my career above anything, all those things, right?
Exactly.
Do my job, but that's how I live my life, right?
Right.
The Mary Kay people, because that's who I learned it from.
Yeah.
And so when I do that, like, because I did that, when I got this opportunity, my then manager, who's also now one of my best friends, he was like, Jessica, you're not gonna be here for long. I just want you to get ready. I'm getting my mind ready or whatever. Whenever the Lord tell
Mm.
you, I know it's it. I don't know if that was the release I needed because the Lord started downloading really heavy, right?
Wow.
I messed up and asked him, I said, hey, all this is coming at me fast. I'm trying to do a good job here, but now I'm being told that I'm not gonna be here for long. I still got bills to pay, but I know this is not my end all be all. See, that's the thing
Mhm.
about the prophetic. The Lord will give you a glimpse of
Yeah.
what's going on, but you don't know the full story.
Yeah.
Out
Yeah.
that I knew I was gonna leave for business, but in my mind, the business wasn't content creation. In
Mhm.
my mind, my business wasn't a podcast. It was
Right.
I thought I was gonna be, coaching and being, have enough money to just slide on over. No, this is not what happened. I was not prepared to answer your question. I was not prepared, all right? But spiritually I was. Didn't
Yeah.
know it. Spiritually I was. And so I was sitting down watching, uh, getting prepared for the interview,
Hmm.
preparing for the interview, and her interview with Terrell comes up, and I hear her say, "Well, you need to go ahead and pack up your things so you can live your dream." That's the short version, right?
Mm.
And I'm like, okay. I just started crying
Mm.
because when you ask God to show you or give you the answer,
Hmm.
and then He gives you the answer, you still have to respond to the answer.
Yes. You gotta
You
respond.
got to respond to the answer, and your no or your hesitancy is still a response.
Ooh, talk about it.
Your no and or your hesitancy is still a response. Was
Jesus.
I nervous? Yes, girl, I was making six figures as a branch manager. Had a company
Jesus.
card. I wasn't paying for no gas. I was, you know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't putting miles on my card, like my personal
Jesus.
card. I was living it well. I was living in decent as a single woman at that,
Yeah. Wow.
as a single woman. And so for God to say, hey, it's time to cut that up, right?
Woo.
It was time to cut it up. It was time to cut it up. So now living today, I suffered. I had a period of suffering, like the doubting and I'm not
Mhm.
sure if this is for me. I'm not sure if this is supposed to happen. That's because I was planting my seeds. Even
Mhm.
though I had just moderated for Tabitha Brown, I still had to put in the work. I still had to
Mhm.
put in the work for myself because this is my brand.
Yeah.
I'm saying this is who I am. And so since then, since this time last year, my numbers have grown like I can't even tell you where we at YouTube because it changed every day. The
Yeah.
last time I checked it, is it 2,500? I was begging this time last year, I was begging for 500 subscribers.
Jesus.
You know
Jesus.
what I'm saying? Now,
Yeah.
my content is being monetized on TikTok and YouTube. You get what I'm saying?
Wow.
Those are the two places I was focused on since last year. Like
Mhm.
I've been taking my time and I've
Yeah.
been saying, okay, God, um, I just need the evidence. I just need the evidence that it's working. And he has covered every step of the way.
Mm.
He has covered us. I have my shout out to Desiree Danielle,
Yes.
best friend, my producer, my co-host. And it has blessed not only me, but my obedience to start the podcast has blessed her. And
Yes.
now I don't do this by myself. We do it for God. And it's just been an amazing testimony
Mhm.
because people like you ask this same question. I'm just like, it's the same answer. Like I couldn't have guessed this for myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get preachy a little bit.
Yeah, listen, you could come on with it. Come on with it. You hear me? But
Yeah.
you said something of how this is your brand and it's so important to be consistent in building out what God has shown you or what God has given you to do. And I think a lot of times, and I'll even say for myself, sometimes we allow for the vision or for the whatever it is that God has called us to do to slip because either number one, we're lacking faith. Number two, we feel like we can't do it. Number three, we might feel like we even have time. But there is something very important, especially what you said about I think you were mentioning like how your like a delayed answer is still a answer, and you being delayed in moving your feet to do what God has called you to do, like it's still an answer. And so talk to us a little bit about that and like how important is it or how important was it, then and even now for like you being able to continue on when you don't see the numbers or even when you are seeing the numbers, not even just within podcasts, but just like the obedience and the instruction that God gives you, like how important is that? And I'll just say this before you answer that. Um, there is some importance to that because of the people that are attached to your why. And thinking about Danielle or Desiree, she's attached to that. Like,
Mhm.
had you not answered the call, and I think about that often, like, man, if I don't answer, like my mentee or my mentee, she reached out to me this morning and she was just like, I just want to tell you thank you so much because, of our, night talks and conversations, I decided that I was going to get baptized just by a conversation of it was something else that we were talking about, but because we started having dialogue, having conversation, communing and connecting with one another, we didn't know where it was going to go. We thought we were meeting for one thing, but God did something completely different and it drew her to Christ.
Yeah.
She got baptized on her own. So talk a little bit about the importance and significance of not dragging your feet and also how your why is not just for you, it's for others connected to you.
Most definitely. I think that's a good thing. Um, so because I've dragged my feet on other things that God gave me um an assignment to do, I know what it feels like to feel like you failed not only yourself, but you
Mhm.
failed God. And the feeling costs too much.
Mhm.
It feels it's one thing when you say, I want to do something or whatever, and you didn't do it. But it's another thing when you know that God told you to do something and He gave
Mhm.
you a window of time to do something. I don't know about y'all. I don't know about y'all, but I know I feel defeated. I feel shameful. I feel,
Yeah.
um, and to be honest, it's shame that kept me from doing the thing.
Mm. Yeah,
It,
I
it,
felt that
it,
before too.
Yeah, the doubting and the not believing in what God sees. If God really gave us an assignment, Liz, we got to think about this. When God gives us assignments, it's because He believes that we can complete the assignment. When He gave
Mm.
Noah the thank you, Holy Spirit. When He gave Noah the instructions to build the ark, He knew he didn't have no expertise in building the ark. But guess
Yeah.
what Noah did? he still built an ark.
Yeah.
So that's what he could put on his resume. So the
Come
thing
on.
that people say, "Oh, I've never done this before. I can't see myself doing it or whatever." But God knows what He put in you.
Yes.
Like, we can't disrespect God's creativity like that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? We can't disrespect. And so I've been in a place where I felt too low to fulfill the assignment, right?
Mhm.
And so I'm just gonna tell it like a TI is. I didn't feel confident enough to fulfill the assignment of podcasting, right? You
Mhm.
mentioned earlier that you were on my podcast. Thank you for that. You were in the top, the first 10 episodes.
All right. I made it to the first
Definitely. You made it to the first 10. That means you need to redo. Okay?
Yeah.
'Cause
Oh, yeah.
the first 10, it looked like I was just starting. Okay?
But it was still good though. It was still good.
It was good because the thing is, I have the content. I knew the word in me. I knew what was
Yeah.
in me. I was still good. People just didn't know it yet. Oh my
Yeah.
God, it's so good.
Woo.
You are good. People just don't know it yet. And they will
Yeah.
never know it until you
Hmm.
start obeying the first set of steps for God, right?
Yeah.
So, and so when you think about the hesitancy, right? And why is it so important to go ahead and give God your yes, right? With my podcast, our motto for the year is yes 365. So giving our yes to
Mm.
God daily. And we're focusing on the yes because we've told no God no plenty of times. When
Yeah.
we ignore God, when we say God, we're fearful, when we're telling God, question, not necessarily questioning him on how this is gonna work, woo, 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 with
Yeah.
movement, but it's the I ain't moving until you give me the whole picture type attitude.
Yeah.
And you never get places with God when you got to know everything. Because
Hmm.
what's the point of having him if you gonna know everything,
Right. Yeah.
right? So that's where trust comes into place. And so what I found for myself is there's still some things I be like, oh Jesus, that's you asking a lot. And I ain't saying no, but I've been hesitant, and
Yeah.
I feel it. I feel it because I feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I feel more stressed out. But by the time I do what God tells me to do, it's like, whoo, that's all that took. You
Yeah.
know, you really, you be like, whoo, that's all.
Right.
Yeah, girl. I mean, in his mind, I'm ready. In his
Hmm.
mind, I'm more than enough. In his
Hmm.
mind, I can build the ark.
Yes.
In
Come
his mind,
on.
I can build the art. But I'm like, no, man. And this is so beautiful. If you pay attention, and I don't know why I'm on here, but if you pay attention to the story of Noah, he told Noah to build the ark, but he ain't the only one that built it.
Mm. Mm.
He put his family to work.
Yeah.
He followed the instructions of God. God gave him the dimensions.
Yes.
So when people say, how do you do your interview questions? How do you do this? Baby, Holy Spirit, I
Come
don't know
on.
anything
Come
without Holy
on.
Spirit. If I got to do a design, okay, Holy Spirit, does this work? Does this look good? Who I supposed to use for this?
Strategy.
Who
Yeah.
I need to
Come on.
call? I mean, we think, and that's another reason why we hesitate because we think in God telling us to build the art by ourselves, and that's not
Mm.
true. He might be telling you to lead the mission, but he's not telling you to do it by yourself. He doesn't
Mhm.
expect that.
Mhm.
God is a communal God. That's why you have Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. They out
Come
of
on.
him, they created earth. He didn't even create they created earth together.
Come
So we try
on.
to play God like he don't know we need help.
Yeah.
Because while he giving you the instruction, right? If we use Desiree as an example, while he's giving me instructions, Desiree is in the background already helping different people, trying to give them the understanding of, hey, like if you're gonna do a podcast and put it on YouTube, you can't put the just the vocals behind it, the audio. You need your video. So she's already planting
Wow.
seeds,
Yeah.
not even
Yeah.
knowing that we're about to do this podcasting thing
Yes.
together
Wow.
at the same doggone time.
Wow.
And so when you slow up the process, not only for you, but like you said, others, there's so many testimonies I have by people just coming like, man, you just don't know I needed this word. I'm
Yes.
getting it more now. Man, you just didn't, you just don't know. I needed that word. And I'm hearing this, Liz, and I'm gonna cut this off because you know I'm a talker. I hear this. If you're gonna be a Christian content creator,
Mhm.
be a Christian content creator.
Mhm. Mhm.
this is so I won't say a sore spot for me, but what I'm noticing is people are Christian. Some people are becoming Christian content creators to benefit them because it's popular and it looks good.
Right, right. Yep.
But if I really want to tell you the truth with an F,
With an L.
with an F, I want to
Right.
tell you the truth. Being a Christian content creator, being a content creator is already comes with its responsibility
Yeah.
anyway. Right? If you
Mhm.
really think about this the tangibility of the marketing, the branding, Liz,
Mhm.
the how you have to show up and the consistency, that's already hard, right?
Yeah.
Because I put Christian on it, there's an expectation
There's an
for
expectation.
me to look Christ-like.
Mhm.
And if I'm truly a Christian content creator, when I say something or when I release a level of knowledge
Mhm.
that breaks yokes, that delivers people, that heals people, hell gets mad at me.
Come on.
And so when you're saying, "Oh, I'm a Christian content creator," and you have the ability to deliver and free people from themselves,
Right.
you're asking for the warfare.
Yeah.
You're setting yourself up for the warfare. So it's not for the weak. Yeah, you see me on camera every day. You see me on TikTok. You see the views that I'm getting.
They
But
have
truth of the
not
matter
been.
is, on the outside, on the other
Mhm.
side of that, I'm going through pure hell sometimes.
Yeah.
But I'm still showing up.
Yeah.
So you have to make a decision to say, God, I'm not just doing this for me. I am doing this for us. I gotta switch my mic.
Yeah. That's so, so, so good. People have to understand that there is a cost that is associated to not only just content creation, but when you say you are a Christian content creator, you got to understand that there's warfare that's attached to that. And so a lot of times people see the glamour, they see the lights, they see all of the things and the fast movement, but they don't understand the level of warfare that we also have to go through in getting the gospel, spreading the word, the love, the encouragement of Jesus Christ out. And so I'm so glad that you brought that up. I want to ask you one more question so we can wrap this up. Um, what would you say to someone that has been struggling with stepping out, um, but they know they've been called to more? What would you say to them? What would be your encouragement or advice?
Mm. If someone's struggling with stepping out, but they know they're supposed to do more.
Mm-hmm.
What's coming into mind, I'm just gonna trust God on this, is weigh the cost.
Mm.
If I do this, because that's biblical.
Yeah,
I,
it is.
the Bible talks about weighing the cost, right? What's the cost of me doing this? What's the cost of me not doing it?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, thank you, Holy Spirit. Sometimes we forget that God has feelings.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you put the shoe on your foot, I've created you for something, right? I've given you all this land. I've given you all these gifts, and I'm putting it right in front of you. And I'm just saying, here's the directions to open this gift.
Mm-hmm.
And you saying, oh, the direction's too long, or I gotta figure this out. And you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
you making these things too so difficult. We basically slap God in the face and say, hey, you don't know what you're doing, right?
Mm.
I said
Mm.
that before. Um, And I even say this. I just recently attended a conference called Forever Healed, and one of the ministers was talking about we really have to believe in the success of the cross,
Mm.
and the success of the cross in this manner of made for more literally speaks on how God like literally died. He came here and was murdered
Mm-hmm.
or your opportunity for more.
Mm-hmm.
God spoke in tongues. Thank you.
Mm.
He literally suffered for your more. And you think your minor suffering,
That's ooh.
you think your minor
Mm.
suffering, your little bitty setback, your and what you consider a setback is really a lunch. You
Jesus.
being thrusted back to go forward. I took a demotion, y'all.
Mm.
I took a demotion in my job. because I was gonna quit, and then the ram in the bush, the Lord gave me permission. He was like, "Hey, I'm gonna still make you feel uncomfortable, but this is to make ends meet. This to pay your bills, but this ain't
Mhm.
doing nothing else. You gotta start bringing some income from this content,
Yeah.
right?"
Mhm.
And so I demoted myself in order to elevate myself. And
Yes.
literally, my friend told me, Greg, I'm just gonna call him out. Greg told me, this is my manager that was managing me last year. And he told me the other day, he was like, Jessica, I need you to get it together. Everything that you said you was gonna do, you're doing it.
Mhm. Mhm.
You're doing it. And so give yourself permission for your more.
Mhm.
Give yourself permission for your more. Is it gonna look like, is it gonna feel good? No. Is it
Mhm.
gonna, I mean, Tyler Perry, I love thinking about him. Tyler Perry
Yes.
slept in his car for years. He was homeless for years before he made any type of money
Mhm.
from Medea. And now that man about own Atlanta.
Literally. Literally.
So I'm just saying, like, he did, if you can't remember anything else and nothing else motivates you, he made room for your more on the cross. That's what he did.
So good.
So the way you honor your more is by giving God a chance.
Mhm.
Giving God a chance to prove himself to be who he said he is.
Yes, that's so good. And I'm gonna say this, um, everybody, he's given everybody that chance for the more. Even when you feel like it's insignificant or you feel like he's given everybody except for you, or you don't have what it takes. Yes, you do. And that's the reason why this podcast has been created. Number one, I want to say thank you. You know, we can go in.
Yeah.
Prophetic people, when we get together, it's a whole thing. Okay. So, thank you so much. Share with us where we can find you, how people can connect with you, what you have coming up, if anything. Yeah, so.
Yes, well, thank you again for allowing me on, Liz. And I'm just appreciative that you're going after your more
Mhm.
in
Thank
this
you.
season. And so I'm proud of you, and wherever way I can support you. I'm saying this on the recorded line.
And I'm gonna come back to it just in case, like you remember when you said.
And I mean what I said. But y'all know God is gonna continue to blow on you, Liz. Just keep moving. But where you can find me, I have a website, www.jessicasmith.com. But it's, better to connect with me on social media, under the Jessica S. Smith on all platforms. Just as the podcast is on Instagram only, pretty much, as far as like its own social media handle. But if you find me at the Jessica S. Smith, you'll find me everywhere. So TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, you name it, I'm there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Made for More. We appreciate you being a part of this journey. If you've enjoyed today's conversation, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel and drop a comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, remember, you've been made for more.